What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are back with round 3 from the Denver Vault Tour. On the left, we've got Nathan with his Bahamut Alp Larissa Heifetz deck. Hope I said that right. Dis Logo Shadows. On the right, we've got Elliot with his Prescott Lady Chambers Atero deck. Dis, Logos, and indeed, Shadows. So both have Dis, both have Logos, both have Shadows. We've got pretty much as close as you get to a mirror match in Keyforge rolling on here. Now, I do need to mention that Nathan has 3 copies of Control the Week, so he's going to be able to control what house Elliot's allowed to play. Not to mention he's got 2 copies of Ember Imp to stop your opponent playing more than 2 cards. I'm kind of liking this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, Elliot's not to be outdone. He's got an Ember Imp of his own. And he's got himself a Shaffles. Your opponent loses an Ember at the end of their turn. Not to mention a Drumble. If your opponent has 7 Ember or more, you steal all of it when you play. So there's some love going on. Oh, speaking of which, Ember Imp is probably my favourite turn 1 card. And Nathan drops it straight away. Which means that all of a sudden, Elliot can only play 2 cards. He can use as many cards as he likes. Oh, there we go. So Relentless Whispers, deal 2 damage to a creature. If it destroys them, steal an Ember. That was nice. Oh, if I'm honest with you, that was kind of nice. That was a good play on his part. And of course, Relentless Whispers gets you an Ember bonus. He didn't steal an Ember, there wasn't one to steal, but he got the Ember bonus. Although ironically, he didn't even play 2 cards, but it's still nice to get the Ember Imp off the board. So Tentacus comes down there. Your opponent's got to pay you an Ember to use an artifact. And he uses a Rise. Now, he's actually only going to get back an Ember Imp, but still, using a Rise to get back all the creatures from one house. Get back Ember Imp at the cost of a chain. Is it worth it? Maybe. Ember Imp's kind of annoying. That is a lot of Ember on Nathan's board there. On his playmat. To point that out, there's a lot of Ember. So, what's Nathan thinking about here? Now, it looks like he's on his next turn, so all Elliot actually did was, well, play a Carlo Phantom, but that's gone now. Oh, Nathan's deck is rolling quite nicely. Okay, he's not got a huge amount of stuff on the board, but he's got himself 3 Ember. He has completely cleared Elliot's side of the board. He's got an Ember Imp down, so Elliot can only play 2 cards. I mean, this is a good deck. Now, his 2 cards are going to be Doc Bookden here, which is quite nice. Means that you do get to draw a card when you reap. And then he's got another creature, and that's it. It's a Titan mechanic, incidentally. It does reduce the cost of forging a key by 1, but that's for you and your opponent. Oh, that's a nice time to play the Terror, ladies and gentlemen. The Terror gains you 2 Ember if your opponent has none. Oh, he's actually got 2 in his deck. He's got both of them in his hand. That's good timing. Play Charette. Would capture an Ember if his opponent had any. He does not. But playing down 2 the Terror when your opponent has no Ember, I mean, that's just mean, ladies and gentlemen. It essentially turns each of them into a Dust Pixie. That's redonk. Absolutely redonk. Okay. So, what do we have? Now, we do have a Dimension Door here for Elliot. Is that going to help? For the remainder of the turn, any Ember you gain from reaping is stolen from your opponent instead. Needs a little bit more than that as it stands at the moment. We've only got... Oh, Skippy Timehog. I like Skippy Timehog. Skippy Timehog says your opponent cannot use any cards next turn. They can play as many as they like. Now, the bad news for Elliot, good news for Nathan. Nathan's got enough to forge a key. That was a pretty good turn from Elliot. He got a bunch of creatures down. Skippy Timehog's a little bit of disruption. But unfortunately, he's not actually stopped Nathan forging a key. Nathan's still forging. He's still forging. Yeah. Now, he does get the Twin Bolt Emission coming down. Takes out Skippy Timehog. And does a couple damage to the the Titan Mechanic. Not Valiant Analyst, they are different cards. And he gets himself an upgrade here, which, I mean, look, he plays 2 copies of Rocket Boots, so it's either Rocket Boots or Rocket Boots. It's really good. When you fight or reap, If it's the first time you've used a creature this turn, you ready it. So it essentially just lets you double reap with a creature. Or double fight, or fight and reap, it's up to you. Point is, you get to use the creature twice. Having 2 copies of Rocket Boots in one deck is actually pretty amazing, because it just turns one creature into 2. I mean, fighting, yeah, fine, you're not going to be able to survive every fight ever, but certainly when it comes to reaping, you just reap twice rather than once. It's crazy good. And if you get it on a big attacking creature, you can still fight twice with it. So Doc Bookton Reaps gains an Ember, and of course when Doc Bookton Reaps you do get to draw a card, so that's quite nice. He's probably going to reap with Titan Mechanic. Oh no, he's attacking with Titan Mechanic. And I think what he's basically doing there is saying, you know what, you're forging more keys than me at the moment. I think this is helping you more than it's helping me. I'm just going to get it off the board. Getting the Terror off the board with the Rocket Boots, also very nice, incidentally. But I don't think he really wanted the Titan Mechanic down on the flank. Of course, you can always just play a creature next to it to get it off the flank. But then again, do you have a creature to play? Because if you don't have a creature to play on the flank, it's kind of irrelevant. So, where are we to? Looks like we're back to Nathan here. And looks like he's working on his second key. And, gets an Urchin down to steal an Ember. That's quite nice. And that looks like a Nexus, which just lets you copy and destroy an artifact. It's a really good counter against these library access Nepenthe decks that are everywhere. And to be honest, that's one of the big themes we've seen in the first 3 rounds of the Denver Vault Tour so far. People are just going after those Nepenthe. People are just making sure that library access Nepenthe combination is not going to take them down. I can't argue with them, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a powerful combo. You've just got to have an answer to it. And we're seeing that in the Denver Vault Tour that all these decks do. Now, chooses not to play a Hysteria there, which would make everyone pick up their creatures. Plays a Lash of Broken Dreams, a Succubus, and a Shula. Now, no. Snudge, my apologies. Now, I do like Succubus. Succubus basically means your opponent draws 1 less card during their draw cards turn. And actually, Elliot has double Succubus here. So, like we saw double Mother in the previous round, we got double Succubus here, meaning that Nathan's drawing till he's got 4 cards in hand. That's not a lot, ladies and gentlemen. That really isn't a lot. I don't know, part of me thinks like I would quite have liked to play the Hysteria there. You return each creature to its owner's hand. Okay, he loses a Doc Bookton. I mean, the other argument is that Charette, when it comes into play, steals an Ember. Captures an Ember. And Urchin, when it comes into play, steals an Ember. So I suppose you would be giving both of those. And there is a Terror there that if you've got no Ember, your opponent gains 2. So, Ember Imp comes back down. So on the one hand, it would have been nice to get rid of the board presence here. But on the other hand, there are several play abilities you would have been giving your opponent access back to. But then you don't play it, and your opponent sits there and reaps constantly. So there's just no answer. I mean, Succubus has gone here because Charette took it out. But Charette couldn't have taken it out if Hysteria had been played. So I think the Hysteria play was a really awkward one, because on the one hand, you get to really limit your opponent's options, but on the other hand, you give them many coming into play abilities. I don't know what the right answer was. I still probably would have played it, if I'm honest with you. I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just saying that's probably what I would have done. Either way, certainly looks like Nathan's in control here. Nathan's forged a key, Elliot hasn't. Nathan's sitting there with 5 Ember, and it looks like Elliot's got 1. Nathan's got 6 creatures on the board, Elliot's got 1. I mean, by almost any measure, Nathan's just having a much, much better game. Probably got a very good deck, to be honest. Though Elliot's deck is no slouch. I mean, I'm not going to spoil the result here. We're halfway through the game. But I can see the win-loss record of both decks. I'll link them both in the description. And these are both very highly winning decks. These are both very successful decks. So, yeah. These decks don't lose often, ladies and gentlemen. They really don't lose often. But Elliot's got some work to do here. He is clearly behind in this game. He's got less Ember. than Nathan's got. He's got a worse board position than Nathan, and he hasn't forged a key, whereas Nathan has. This all adds up to not very good. Now, the good news is that he's got a couple of creatures down. He's also played his Speed Sigil. Now, Speed Sigil is a great little card that says that the first creature into play each turn goes into play ready. Downside is, it is creature, not your creature, so it will help your opponent just as much as it helps you. It can backfire. Be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it can backfire. Now, it does look like he gets I want to say a Carlo Phantom down there, and then just draws to the end of his turn. He's either got 5 or 6 Ember, so he might be in a position to forge next turn. He might actually be ready to forge. Can't quite see. It's not always the easiest to see, but he's doing all right. Nathan clearly in the driver's seat. Now, he does manage to get himself a Silvertooth. Best thing about Silvertooth, it comes into play ready, so you can immediately reap with it, etc. And generally, the rule of Silvertooth is you play it down, you reap with it, and if you get to do anything else, that's an advantage. Now, it does look like he gets a Twin Bolt Emission, manages to take out the Carlo Phantom, which is quite nice. And he gets his Rocket Boots down. Rocket Boots onto Nexus. Rocket Boots, basically, the first time you use a creature, it readies and you get to use it again. That's a huge advantage. Basically gives you a second run at the creature. It's really quite ridiculous. So, yeah, having 2 of them in your deck is pretty broken. It's pretty awesome. So, Nathan's in a great position here. I mean, it looks like he's got 5 Ember, but he's almost ready to just kind of sit back and chill. It really looks like Elliot's got 5 Ember. So it's not like Nathan's under some huge rush here. He doesn't need to stop Elliot right this second. He's a key up. They've got about the same number of Ember. I mean, it'd be lovely if he could get another 1 or 2 just to put himself in reaping position next turn. But it doesn't look... Oh, looks like we might have a judge ruling coming in here. Now, I must confess, I've not seen exactly what the judge ruling is for. So, we are going to have to give him a moment, I'm afraid. Now, they're pointing at the Speed Sigil. And Tentacus. Ooh, now are they talking about Tentacus? Now, Tentacus is a fun one. Tentacus basically says you have to pay an Ember in order to use an artifact. Now, I believe that doesn't count for something like Speed Sigil, where you just play it, because you're not using the artifact. The artifact is always there. This would be something like Mighty Javelin, where you use it to deal 4 damage to a creature. But it looks like they have moved on with their lives now, and it looks like it's over to Elliot's turn. Certainly, Elliot's got a little bit of Ember now, and that's nice for him. Now, he's also got his Lash of Broken Dreams down. I adore Lash of Broken Dreams. Now, you have to use it as an action, and that would then cost Ember for Tentacus, but it means your opponents cost +3 Ember to forge. It's a great way of just stopping your opponent forging. Now, it looks like he gets a Succubus down. He gets a The Terror down. Succubus, like I said before, it just stops your opponent drawing an extra card at the end of their turn. It's wonderful, frankly. So, a bit of a quiet turn there from Elliot, but he gets a couple of creatures down. He gets himself up to 8 Ember. He's ready to forge next turn. And now it's over to Nathan. Now, Nathan, again, is a little bit short. It looks like he's starting a turn with 4 Ember, so there's not going to be any forging here. There's no forging going on. So the question is, what can he do? Now, the ideal situation, especially for somebody playing Shadows, which both of these players are, is to have one of those turns where you steal a bunch of Ember to put yourself over the limit while putting yourself under. I mean, clearly Nathan plays bait and switch. All these, well, they don't, but a lot of them play bait and switch. And playing it now would put both players, I believe, on 6 Ember. So we would need to steal 1 more Ember to stop Elliot forging, but I mean, something simple like a Dodger, an Urchin, or like a million other things. So, he's played 3 Fates to destroy the 3 most powerful creatures. It looked like they were all on Elliot's side of the board, and gets him an Ember bonus. So it looks like we have a Dis turn here, and he plays a card we don't see very often, Overlord Grekking. Now, Overlord Grekking's a really fun one. Basically, if you destroy a creature, you take the creature, and it goes onto your side of the field. So, you know, if you take out something like a succubus, you get the succubus, and it can actually be super annoying or super fun depending how you look at it. So, I mean, Nathan's just, well, here's the thing. He got up to 6 Ember, although he's just on 6 Ember, and he cleared Elliot's board, but he didn't stop Elliot forging. Elliot's still able to forge a key here. Oh, and it looks like he's been told to get his metal coins out. Although, like, there's clearly circles on the playmat for them. Like, really obviously, there's circles on the playmat. That's where your creatures go, man. But Elliot needs something here. He's evened it up in terms of keys, and that's lovely. He needs to steal 1 Ember. And to be honest, if he can get rid of 1 Ember from Nathan, he's looking pretty good. He's not got the board set up. He's not got the Ember. But he's got a key, same as Nathan. And the fact of the matter is, Nathan's only got just enough to forge next turn. So if Elliot can take 1 Ember, which, you know, he's playing Shadows, it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, he's playing 2 copies of Relentless Whispers, and he's got 2 Noddy the Thief, although they're not down at the moment. He's got a Nerve Blast, and he's got an Umbra, though that's not down at the moment. So it's not like he's not got ways to steal them. What he does not want to play here is a Valiant Analyst. No, sorry, Titan Mechanic. Titan Mechanic, when it's on the flank, reduces the cost of forging a key by 1. Valiant Analyst gains you an Ember every time you use an artifact. So it literally just cancels out Tentacus. Right, so here we go. Looks like there is a Nerve Blast coming down. Steal an Ember, deal 2 damage to a creature. Oh, was that it? Was that the whole turn? Pretty much. I mean, look, he stopped Nathan forging, which is good. And he's got 3 Ember, which is good. He literally, when I say he's got no board presence here, I mean he's literally just got a Lash of Broken Dreams. And that is, in a very straightforward, literal sense of the word, everything he has on the field right now. Ooh, looks like we've got a Psychic Bug. When you play or reap, you get to look at your opponent's hand, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Not one we see very often. 2 power creature, no Ember, but if you use it correctly, you get to just constantly know what's in your opponent's hand. And that gives you information. That lets you know what they're likely to do next turn, etc. So, no, that's kind of cool. I like that from Nathan there. That's nice. So, Nathan really here wants to try and rush Ember. That's the goal here. He wants to get as much Ember as he possibly can. He plays a Neurosiphon there. Unfortunately, he has more Ember than his opponent, so he doesn't get to steal, he doesn't get to draw. But he gets an Ember bonus. I mean, really the goal of this turn for Nathan, he doesn't need to stop Elliot forging. There's nothing on Elliot's side of the board that he needs to try and take care of, save maybe the Lash of Broken Dreams. So really the goal for Nathan here is just try and get as much Ember as he can. But he's finishing the turn on 7 Ember. It's not like he's rushing ahead here. Now, if Elliot can go for a Dis turn, and it doesn't look like he has he literally just discarded a couple of Logos cards and drawn? Yes, that's literally it. All he did that turn was discard some Logos cards and draw. That let Nathan forge his second key. And now it looks like we're reaping with Tentacus and we're reaping with Overlord Grekking. And now Nathan's gone, right, well, I'm now up 2 keys to 1. And I've long been a proponent. You've seen this on a bunch of my commentated games. If I'm ahead in the game, especially if I've got a better board position, I'm just going to rush Ember. I'm just going to play as much Ember as I possibly can. Oh, ho, ho. And he's gone Control the Weak there. What house has he chosen? Nothing, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing he can do. And Nathan gets enough Ember to forge his 3rd key, drops down a Control the Weak, and that's it. That's all it takes. He forces Elliot into a particular house. Elliot goes, this is what I've got. This is the sum total of stuff that I've got. That is not enough to stop you forging, and Nathan goes ahead with what is frankly a great deck. I mean, look, when we get this far into day 2, and we are doing day 2 games here, when we're round 3 of day 2, you're looking at 2 really good decks. But honestly, and I'll pop links to the decks in the description, frankly, look at the Disc Suite in Nathan's deck. 3 Control the Weak, 2 Ember Imp, Tentacus. It really is a great, great suite of cards. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's round 3. I will be back with round 4, which I want to say is top 8. I'll have to double check. But I'll be back with another round. I'm hopefully doing kind of 1 a day at the moment, so I'll be back very shortly with that. Tell me what you think about this game in the meantime, or your either player's deck in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Keyforge and Transformers and Pokemon and Final Fantasy and all kinds of games. Also, do make sure you're subscribed, because Age of Ascension comes out very shortly, and I'm going to be hitting that set with videos hard. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.